everyone. Welcome to our September Woodward Township Supervisors meeting. We'll start with the pledge of the flag, which we got our main flag out here tonight.
Oops, I'm sorry, honey.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing, we have another executive session at the end to discuss other personnel matters, but we didn't want to hold everybody up, so we just wanted to talk about things that were on the agenda for tonight and get those cleared up. So when we do that at the end, all we're going to do is go into an executive session and then come back to adjourn. So at that time, if everybody wants to leave, that's fine. If not, you can stay for another half hour or something and hear us come back in and say the meeting's adjourned. So that's just giving you a heads up, that's what's going to take place. So do I have a motion to reconvene our regular supervisors meeting?
Motion to reconvene.
All right, roll call Wayne, John, myself, aye. All right, the minutes from the prior meetings, everybody have a chance to review them. Any questions or concerns, comments? If not, we'll go ahead and approve those minutes. I have a motion to approve the prior minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I wanted to hear.
What I've done, yeah, I'll second. Roll call Wayne. You can do, I guess, the.
I on half.
Yeah, we'll do the regular meeting from August, but not the work session. That was recent. And John, myself, aye. All right. Moving on to the financial report. Jackie has our treasury report bills.
General fund, the ending balance is $588,239.59. Ending balance in the special fund, $74,988.75. Daily checking ending balance, $165,193.44. Recreation checking, $10,888.04. Fire tax checking ending balance, $83,822.48. Sewer account, the general fund ending balance, $425,165. Special fund, $376,091. On account, $580,432.44. Those will be all.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call Wayne, John, and myself, aye.
Those to be paid out of the general fund for the township, $18,606.48. Our meeting is early this month, so all of the late bills have not been received. And there's a couple, and we have a truck repair that will be due. Our fire tax account, $303.73. Our receiver fund, $2,490.40.
Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
Roll call Wayne,
Aye.
John, and myself, aye. All right, correspondence, letters, looks like we have 3. Marty Buckle, is that in here? To reach out. All right, the first one is a reach out mentoring program. They're looking to use Riverview Park on Friday, September 25th. They're looking to do a outdoor movie up there in the field. So they're already saying they have all the, or acknowledging the CDC, the COVID recommendations, which they intend to follow all those. I think people that they're inviting to this or whoever, they've been notifying them of that as well. They're just asking to utilize the park up there for that and any electricity, and obviously they'd like to use the bathrooms as well, and they'd ask that we waive any of the fees that we would charge up there because they're a non-profit organization, providing the youth of Clinton County monthly activities. So they're looking to do this, like I said, on Friday, the 25th of this month. The movie will start around 7:30, and they're expecting people to start arriving around 6:30. You can bring your own chairs for it. So I'm assuming they have all their stuff, Jack here, they will, the insurances and stuff. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that for the 25th of this month?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second
And you want to include everybody the fees? We're going to charge $50 to rent the building, so, okay. All right, roll call Wayne,
Aye.
John, and myself, aye. Next one is a thank you letter from the Swissdale Church. They wanted to thank us for allowing them to use the pavilion for their worship services. At their board meeting on September 9th, they made a donation to the township in the amount of $100. So it's much appreciated. We waived their fee just to help out, and they decided to donate anyway, so thank you. The next one is a thank you note from the Clinton County Treatment Court. I believe they held an event there at the park. And they wrote a letter to thank us for the use of the park there. I'm not really going to elaborate much there. That's basically the outside of there. I think there's discussion they would like to maybe use it in the future and also send us some volunteers to help do things with county donation stuff. It's kind of a thank you as well to us. So, any comments on that stuff? All right. We'll come out to the floor for public comment on any of the items on the agenda. If you have any questions, now's the time to go ahead and ask about those before we get into the mix of things there. Does anybody have any comments about anything there?
I don't know if this is the proper time to say it, but I just wanted to commend Ms. Bartlett for her excellent detailed notes. They're so thorough, and I can't thank you enough because I have no questions after I go through these notes. And I don't give too many people credit who are on boards because I don't find too many people to actually credit. Mr. Coleman I credited for his transparency, and I'd like to thank you for this too. It makes my job so much easier when I can just read through things and I have a thorough understanding of what I'm dealing with. So I just want to thank you for that.
Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to our department reports. For the sewer report, we have one here about a muffin monster. You guys want to speak about that? Whoever.
The muffin monster basically shoots up rags and electrolytes stuff, so they can process through the pumps a little easier,
Yep.
which sometimes doesn't happen. So we pulled that out. It's probably been in there for 11 years.
Okay.
Never had new blades put on it. So they can swap it out for us. They'll send us a new unit with a technician. Pour a motor off, set it right on the new one. They'll show us how to maintenance it, uncheck all the blades. The blades are all stacked.
Okay.
Keep them tight, wobbly.
So we use our original motor for it. This is just like the base of it with all the cutting blades or whatever. Is it? They're. I mean, the total estimate's a little over 15,000. Is there anybody else that deals with them or no? It's worth calling, get another.
Tight because
It's just.
brand
Right. Yeah.
specially built.
Right. I mean, technically, we should get another fair quote. Repair because it's over 11,300 on threshold. So,
Is there more than one distributor?
Kind of, do a little more digging and
if we have to go with these people because like our motors are like compatible to that, then we need to note that, but still we should probably make a couple calls or something, just see if there's another, plus the fact that they're charging $2,000 for a day of service. So, I'm in the wrong business. $2,000 a day. So I would just maybe between now and Friday, maybe make another phone call or two and just document it. If that is an issue, then the other ones that you call, it's not compatible with our motor, then we have to note that, and if something would ever come up as to why we went with these people without checking or whatever the case may be, that's why.
What did they explain the tariff surcharge?
That was per like report.
If I may, the statute says that we're talking between 10,000 and the outright bidding, right? Quotations. Okay. The statute says that there is an exception. In lieu of price quotations, the memorandum shall be kept on file showing that fewer than 3 qualified contractors exist in the market area within which it is practicable to obtain quotations. So
We just need to note that. All right.
so you can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm checking around.
Yeah. Do we want to, how about we have a motion that we approve the purchase of this in the event that there's nothing comparable or cheaper? That way we don't have to wait till another meeting. If they find it out by this week or something, they can move forward. Yeah. I would imagine they can probably quote it pretty quick if you call a couple other places, so, yeah.
Contingent pictures.
Right. Yeah.
Public. To purchase this contingent before the price.
Roll call in,
Aye.
John, and myself, aye. Recreation report, nothing really to speak of at this point right now. We finally got our benches out of here and they're up at the park there. I think there's been some other people asking about doing some different things up there with like memorial type stuff, so I don't know, I know some talked about in the past, like some brick paver type stuff with engraving stuff on them, but then I got room for one more bench, and there was 3 of them that were decided on about 2 years ago, and so there's about room for one more, and we need to kind of do something different there, so if people want to continue doing donations like that, so and I remember Cindy and I talked about something there on the flagpole too, like a veterans type thing. I mean, that needs cleaned up a little bit. It would look a lot nicer if we had something like that around there.
Somebody wants to donate, we can put it in that.
Yeah. I know, up in Lenore there, at the park there, they have a really nice memorial there for their township up there. So maybe we can look at something like that. Road reports.
Before we go, John, did you check on the roof?
No, I was talking to him and see, I'm not really, I want to check the price of it, because the price of material is not so bad right now.
The one by the bridge area.
No,
The big one?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he can,
Just the roof, not.
if he can do it, we're gonna keep the shingles the same color as the new one, the new vermilion, and try to get them all.
Yeah, I think that one down there is green.
I'll check it.
Yeah, yeah,
I know that.
right. That or take a chance that in the springtime, maybe the prices will level back out a little bit. Right. Yeah. Alright, road reports. The guys have been working up in Queens Run, doing that road work up there. I think hopefully that'll be wrapping up in the next 2 weeks. Weather,
It's good to be done next week.
the rollers gonna get there next
It's
week.
got there Monday. We're putting some days down Monday.
Road, so by the end of next week. We're gonna get some pavement patched up that we have cut over right now, primarily Brewery Hollow. There's a cross pipe we replaced up there, and we're gonna get that taken care of. And we're looking at another paving section out on North Vista Drive, but we're gonna have to put that out for bid and try and get bids returned as quickly as possible. And I don't know, we'll discuss that after a bit, whether we need to have a special meeting to open that, or if we can delay it until the work session, which I think is October 14th, is our next work session. We can open the bids then. And then I'll call Darren Stover tomorrow and have him write the bid specs to get it to you, Jackie. And then have him put the constraints on or whatever that's got to be completed by a certain date. That way we can get it taken care of as soon as possible. If I were guessing, it's going to be local, small contractors bidding on this because of the size of the paving. It's not a real big project. So, which should help us out too with getting it done before the deadline. Because I know somebody like HRI or Paul Baker is probably booked out for the rest of the year and wouldn't be able to get them in here at this point.
Yeah, you're going to have to advertise that relatively quick,
Yeah.
because it's, if you do it, well, you can do it to 3 days apart, that'll move it up, and then you need to leave the 10-day gap
Right.
before voting on it.
It's pretty cut and dry. Darren already has the specs, so just have him typing it up quick to send over and put it in paper. So maybe we can run our first one maybe this Thursday, and then the following week put another one in. Alright. Anything else road-wise? We do need to, once we get done with Queens Run, need to look at some catch basins. I noticed there's one over in Dunstown that there's like asphalt caving in around the edge of it, like it's not good.
Randy Terry's supposed to get us the amount on it needs to be placed for budget times.
Yeah, this one, we've already fixed the pavement over there once, in the middle of the road, because the pipe, there's something going on there, but that needs to be done probably before winter.
And you are working on what we need for budget rate for next month. For all the manholes.
Time of year already. All right, we'll move on to old business, resolution for the tackle-on fee. I think we need to delay that once again until we take care of some budget stuff. So there's some things that need ironed out first.
Table that till the budget.
Yeah. Policy procedure manual update. We're going to table that once again until we have some meetings regarding that. Part-time police officer position update. Steve, you have anything there?
Not really. We have received 2 applications. One's still in the academy. One just got out of the academy. Like I said last month, the one guy he got hired somewhere else. I know the city's also hiring, so
Right.
it's kind of, I think the same people that put it here have also put it over there. So honestly, I'm kind of holding back a little bit so we don't have an
Right.
expense and then lose somebody right away.
Right. Okay. North Vista Drive repairs, we discussed there about the paving. We're gonna get an advertisement together quickly for that and try and get it out to bid. The dry hydrant for the boat launch for the fire guys, Mike, do you have anything?
Yep, I'm working right now with Clinton County Conservation. Just waiting for that lady to call me back with some paperwork that we need to do.
Okay. communication policy update, we just made some revisions to that, which Bobby's gonna take care of, and then we'll adopt that at our next meeting. And then 21 Moore Road, nothing really added there this
We
time.
gotta just table that too until after.
Yeah. Alright. New business, we don't have any new business at this time. So we'll go to the floor, start in front here, Cindy, or Jim. Roger? Nothing new. So he's been reached out to, but no response yet. So we'll keep trying. I know he's been a little difficult to deal with at times over the years on other matters, so we'll keep trying and see what we can do. So I don't know if it could help if maybe some other levels contact him as well. Put some pressure on him too, you know. But we'll keep trying. And I have your phone number saved. We'll call you and let you know what's going on. Mike? Alicia?
I actually have two things. First, I want to start with, did we ever figure out about the Comcast login information? What are we
For the-
doing with that?
For
So
the
we
password
have-
stuff?
So we have a phone, basically on our iPad, to be able to customers reach us, return calls,
Okay.
on our Comcast app. It was discussed before, but I was to ask Steve, and he reverts me back to Comcast.
Okay. So the way I read the email is there's an app that Comcast offers for them to use that if they don't answer on the line over there, it would stop me whenever if I go off track here with this, but it would revert to the iPad and they can answer the phone call from there in the field. Or if they need to call somebody back from the iPad, it'll come up as Woodward Township sewer.
Does that put everything on speaker?
For the iPad, probably to the iPad.
I think you're better off with a telephone. A flip phone, just like the police department has, these guys have. If that's on speaker, you're in around with people that are in business, you're doing everything's good.
Right. Jack, can you check about the phone to see what they call it? I know some of those phones are probably free.
The phone is free, and I think it's only $25 if that's single.
Okay. I mean, we basically need something to answer the phone is all. Because everything else can be done on that. Is there any other
I mean, that
thing you can do?
will automatically go back as Woodward Township
Right.
when you call off.
That line would have to be connected to that one.
And like with the Comcast app, like we can see who's called, what time they called, every little detail, which I'm sure whoever logs into that can also see that.
Do you have access to check the voicemails and stuff? Like you can call
From
in
the phone, from the office.
from the office phone?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when you're there, you can pull messages off that.
Right.
Okay. Alright.
And I have a few other things.
Yeah.
So I have read that and been told by a couple people in the public that I got to pay the priest for my insurance. It's never notified of this. And I'm wondering why I was never notified.
Well, everybody can chime in on this. So what happened, how it started was I brought up the topic that I felt you were owed a raise because we were giving money to Charlie Kluge and he was not really providing any services for us that were meaningful because we now had Mike's certificate hanging out there.
Which I was at that.
Okay, so I said about, basically allocating that money to you for the services that you've been providing. Because if Mike's on call, if you're on call and Mike can't make it, you're the one that's going to go down and take care of the stuff. So at that meeting, it was voted upon to give you the raise. It was $2 an hour. And then we had a work session after that, at the next month, and that's when some people came in, questioned it, And Wayne, you want to speak on that part of it?
Yeah, we took and went over it and thought without the certificate or anything, that the amount that was raised was unjustified, so we adjusted.
Well, can you tell me why it's certified? Because the Pennsylvania Department of Labor requires you to notify an employee of a change prior to taking effect.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
She wants to know why she wasn't notified of her pay decrease. So we gave her an increase, and then we came back the following month. There was discussion about splitting her hours. That she only got the higher rate.
Yeah,
because-
I was here during that, but I'm not sure if I understand the question.
So
Why was
she
she
was
notified?
She was never notified of the pay decrease.
I can't answer for
Right.
lack of communication, gentlemen. Sorry.
Well, I don't come in and sign the paychecks anymore, so. I mean, honestly, she should be paid the higher rate until right now we vote to say that it's effective now. I don't think we have an option. She should have been notified.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that it says that you have to be notified prior to the next pay date. That they can start from there,
Right.
per the Pennsylvania labor laws.
Well, hopefully this stuff gets addressed during our, this communication policy stuff, because this is,
Well, and I think this should go back to executive session for that.
Well, you're dealing with potentially a legal matter here, and obviously, this is the first time this has been dropped on my lap, so I would like to hear all the details behind the executive session so I can address it.
I mean, I think at this time, being that it could be a legal matter, we need to make a decision right now as to what we're going to do, whether we need to be paying her back, from the time where it was.
Well, I think
Switch.
that's what Bobby's saying, we take it into executive session, we see, all the details.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a knee-jerk recommendation, frankly.
Right.
Because I'm not sure of several issues, so.
Is that something that needs to be voted on, or can we, after you review it, say a day or two from now, and you call us and say, hey, look, you need to just
That's
make a
preferable.
letter at this point right now to give to her?
That would be preferable,
Okay,
if you give me an opportunity.
yeah.
So I'm gonna add a couple of things. So I read in minutes that it's supposed to be a $200 wash, which isn't $1.25, which is what I'm currently getting. It's $1.39 if you go back over 144 hours a month.
Okay. My comment, so what we were talking about doing was, it was brought up that you should be paid, there was some people that came to that meeting, to that work session, that felt that you should have been paid only the higher amount when you were out doing that field work.
Which is most of the money.
Right, so that was at the work session at the township meeting, then we had an executive session about that, and I felt that we should make it a wash, so whatever $200 was equivalent to, that way it was a wash for the township. And I think Bobby did some quick calculation, which we can verify all that stuff, but that was what was agreed upon, was that whatever the $200 amount was per hour, that's what you were gonna get. So if the $1.25 is not correct, then it'll be, I guess the way I'm seeing this right now, and this is not official, but I think you would be given the $2 an hour amount up until we hand you a letter, and then it's gonna be whatever the $200 equivalent is. So, and I guess we need to determine to make sure that $1.25 is correct, or if it's something,
I think we better involve
yeah.
and not make any assumptions here.
I agree.
Pretty,
Sorry, I've just been going over these minutes, my name was discussed for several pages of the work session that I wasn't asked, so. Is there a reason why it was increased? Because Jackie's sister come in and complained that,
Can you speak up a little bit?
Jackie's sister come in and complained about my raise. Well, Mike got a raise a year or so ago. No one came and complained about his, we do the same work. So I'm not quite understanding why it was increased to begin with.
Mike didn't get his until he was certified.
He gets $400 a month for his certification.
He was certified. Are you certified today?
I'm not certified yet.
Mike didn't get a penny, did Mike, until you were certified?
What was you asked the question there? What was the question?
How come it was decreased? Because somebody comes in and complains about me getting a $2 pay raise. From what I've read is, oh, I'm a billing clerk, which I'm not sure where that title came from, first of all. And I'm in the office from 1 to 4 Mondays and Fridays. When Mike leaves at 3, because he now works Wednesdays, I go through, make sure all the documentation's there for any lateral inspection to be done, or any paperwork to be done in the field, that needs to be taken care of. So our office hours are 1 to 4 Mondays and Fridays. It would stay in there that I'm in the office 30 to 40 hours a week, but I shouldn't get the pay raise basically because I was billing clerk.
I think you did get a pay raise.
I'm saying.
Yeah, she's asking why her pay was decreased though.
Why it was decreased from when I got the original pay raise.
Because of certification. Mike didn't get his until the certification was there. Am I right, Mike?
He got a pay
I think
raise
Mike was
once he
given-
was certified, that he gets a stipend for his certification. Correct?
Yeah. And the authorities always pay the stipend.
Right. They
So
don't
we
pay
changed
that.
nothing there.
I'm just saying that is why he gets a stipend for his certification, and you're saying that the pay raise for his certification.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly what our discussion was as to when we decided. I think we gave like $4 an hour raise. So, and I think it was done pretty almost simultaneous with the certification. Whether I don't know if it was 100% related to the certification, because like what you're saying is, yeah, he got $400 a month for the certification. So I think you guys started at around $15 an hour, and then once like that transition phase happened and you guys were on board and we started to see like what was taking place, that's when some raises were given.
Performance.
Correct.
And Mike and I do the same duties you can ask. We do the same duties and I also do the office duties.
Right.
Whether he goes in the manhole, I go in the manhole, whether I'm up to my elbow, hoop in a motor, or he is.
Right.
She does that same. I've read through the minutes.
Can you still hear?
Barely.
Just keep speaking up, because I mean, some of the stuff you're talking about, it's.
Sorry. I read through the minutes, and I was pretty disappointed to see that Supervisor Love thinks that I just ride around in a truck. Like, and actually, it states that in the minutes, when we're actually both working, doing our job. Like, I'm not understanding where the communication is here, if y'all understand what we physically do in the field.
That's what it was in the minutes, that's what it says.
Yeah, it says, why are we paying you people to go drive around the field, to drive around in a truck when it's only one person that you need to inspect the manhole? We don't.
I did make a statement that there's a lot of times it's only one person needed.
How often is there only one person in the field?
Doing the same thing you got.
I guess,
And I'll address part of something else. Mike is a department head, so you're saying that you should get the exact same amount of money as the department head?
I'm not saying we should get the exact same money. When did we actually physically get job titles?
Well,
Just curious. Because to my knowledge, we
somebody has to be
don't
the
have
head
a
of that,
job.
Mike's not certified.
I understand that.
Now that you have the floor, I'll give you the opportunity to inform all of us sitting here and anybody else in this room what you do, just so it's clear, because I think you feel that there's a misperception of what you do. So now I would say now's your opportunity to say, hey,
So we go to the pump station, we open the pump station, man door up, we check it, we clean it out, we treat it, we write down all the calculations and numbers, if anything were to ever fail, we have all that on paper for backup.
right,
We open manhole lids, sometimes they need to be repaired, whether we're drilling holes and plugging them, or checking for leaks, documenting them, checking for concrete falling off, going in them to clean out massive rags, or tearing apart a pump that's full of rags, or replacing cutter blades, changing the oil on pumps. All that stuff is included, like every single day. We do either, every single day we're doing something, whether it's in a manhole, inspecting the manhole, checking the leaks, searching for leaks when we see water running down the pipe, going from manhole to manhole, trying to figure out where it's at.
right.
Um,
And you're involved with that as well. I mean, I know like we have to have two people out there because of safety issues, but you're physically yourself, you're getting involved as well, whether getting down in the hole or Mike standing being your safety backup or vice versa. You guys are,
you can ask Mike. If
I've
we-
witnessed it.
If we do the
I've
same
seen
work,
both of them.
or not. Mike mentioned it once.
yeah.
Why don't we have do this? Why don't we have them log their operation for them to see what they
We can do that. We have, I document every day, this manhole's checked, this is what we found, because they have to constantly check, and we have a lot of manholes.
Right,
Because if you don't constantly check them, they break down every time.
right,
I mean, there might be a little piece that's not leaking, and in 3 months from now, it might be leaking.
right.
I kind of feel like I have certain people in the township just coming at me and it's like, oh, Alicia, can't do this, or don't do that. I don't know why, I just feel like I have certain people that are constantly at me.
Well, we can address that in an employee meeting deal or whatever. If you feel there's some issues going on there, we can address that there. So I'm not gonna allow back and forth in a public meeting on, a personal level.
I agree that.
So, I mean, but if you do feel there's a problem, then we'll all talk about it behind closed doors, I think it's probably best that Bobby be involved as well.
Well, it's just hard to get all three of you together.
Right,
Like,
well,
we were supposed to have a employee meeting or something, but that never happened, and it's like things just get pushed off and pushed off.
right. Well, I mean, I've made myself available more often than not for anything related to dropping the hat here, so we just need to pick a date and time. And if it's that important for somebody that they need to speak to us, they're gonna be here, so we need to pick a date and time to do it,
We gotta have a meeting anyway for budget circles, it's got 15, 20 minutes.
Right. I mean, it sounds to me like this, we need to probably expedite this one a little bit and not wait till a next work session or a next township meeting or whatever, so. Do you have anything else before we pick a date here or something?
I was recommending you authorize Jackie to try to coordinate dates and time. Do it.
Okay. So, how about tomorrow, could you send three of us an email? Give us I'm gonna say here, you two communicate on when you wanna come in, or when you wanna meet, preferably not Friday night. And give Jackie options, and then she can email us, and we'll have to make it work.
You want to in the afternoon?
Preferably for Wayne's usually out on the road, so it'd be best if it was
So
3, 4 o'clock, something like that.
I'm pretty much available anytime in the afternoon.
So maybe we
You
can
guys
pick
pick a date, I'll do that.
not Wednesday, if Bobby's gonna be involved, because he's cashes out at 12, 1 o'clock, right, on Wednesdays.
I can,
You don't matter.
I was at a meeting last Wednesday, so.
Okay. Alright. Okay. So, contact Jackie tomorrow morning, give her a couple times that work for you, afternoon, late afternoon, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, that you'll be around by then. And then she can notify us, and we'll sit down and talk about stuff. So maybe by that time, Bobby will have answers about the pay issue that you brought up as well, how we need to handle that matter. So, everybody clear, on board? All right, you have anything else you want to?
I also read that it stated that we had the option for health insurance. And actually, last year, I contacted Jackie like at the end of November, and she said open enrollment had already closed, which we were never notified that it was ever.
Okay.
So,
Do you know when that is by any chance for this year coming up, open enrollment? So, if you could send out an email to everybody about that. I know we have some people that don't choose to take it, but
She was
yeah,
offered in the beginning, she declined.
right.
I wasn't interested.
when we first started,
We should probably make it a practice to just do it every year, just in case somebody's circumstances change, you know, maybe their situation changes, and they need to use our insurance or something like that.
Well, it's on TV and stuff, and stuff.
Just,
That's set by the government.
yeah, I would, if you could, send an email out to everybody, that way you're covered on your end, and we're all notified.
can we get prices of what we would take?
I,
So we know what we would take a week or how.
I think,
That's determined by our health insurance carrier.
right,
So would you know that?
it's in, from what I would say, is it like a package deal, it's gonna tell you if you're single or,
For whenever the paperwork comes out, would that be on the open enrollment of what it's gonna cost to include?
It should be.
I will say, and I know this, now that you're bringing this up, we did talk about offering some form of compensation in the event that they don't take the insurance, if they normally would be taking it because of the cost to the township. I know we did some calculations last year when this was brought up, that I think one employee taking our insurance was costing us somewhere around $8,500 to $9,000. So one of the options that was brought up was about giving an extra week of vacation if they did not take the insurance. So that's something that we said we were going to do last January, and we didn't. So we need to figure that out. If we're going to offer that option, we need to figure out what we're going to do there and make that
I
known.
think we ought to talk about that stuff when we get to the board and put out here. If you can
Well-
tell the wrong impression,
It's
we're justifying this with that, we don't even know what.
it's going to be public because it's supposed to be done in an organizational meeting in January.
Well, I
And we
know.
didn't do it this year, so.
Right now, what I'm saying is, we're sitting there making these statements and we don't know whether, we haven't even discussed it.
I'm
Nothing's
just
come up.
reiterating the options that were brought up last year at a meeting in the middle of the summer last year when she asked about it. We held her off in a public meeting about it and told her we'd address it at the end of the year. And that we weren't going to do that in the middle of the year. They would have to be done starting at the beginning of the new year, and we did not do that. So that's something we need to keep in mind in our employee meeting with this policy procedure stuff. So, anything else?
No, that's all.
Brenda? Danny, and fire company guys.
I do.
Jolie?
So, just a couple of them. Did you guys ever look into the confined spaces stuff?
Yeah, they, Mike, do you want to speak up on that? The confined space training?
Confined space training?
Yes.
You looked into it? You
Yep.
guys are gonna get that done?
It's already done.
Got it, okay. Okay, so then, are you guys gonna revisit giving Alicia a pay increase if she gets her certification, since you brought that up about Mike?
Excuse me, gentlemen, I think that's premature to make that kind of decision.
It's
Well, he
something
put that precursor in there that Mike got a raise whenever he got his certification, so it would only be fair that you would revisit it. I'm not saying give it, I said revisit it.
Well, you can say you revisit it.
We can revisit it, and we also got to look at the Woodward Township need 2 certified people.
Just saying, you said Mike got a raise whenever he got his certification, so it's only fair to revisit it if Alicia gets hers.
We better determine that real quick, because we already gave it a go ahead to take training courses for certification,
Well,
so.
what I'm saying is, so everybody that wants to get a certification, does that mean you're going to raise their pay to a certain level just because they would get a certification?
No, but I
You
mean,
can
if
sit
that's
there.
how we feel about it, then we need to, I guess, address that pretty quickly, because we gave her the go ahead to take a certification course. So, I mean, I'm assuming that she's doing it with intents of getting compensated for it. So if we're not gonna do that, we need to,
Again, I think you gentlemen need to address these issues in executive session. And I'm saying that again, and I'm saying it rather firmly. I don't think this is the time or the place to be addressing these issues and to make commitments that you're going to regret potentially.
I don't think anybody's making commitments, but I think it's open for discussion.
I don't
And
think it's appropriate to discuss it
Right.
now, Kyle, is what I'm saying.
Well, I understand that, but Wayne brought up a question about it, and I'm commenting on something that might be of an issue that we need to discuss, whether that's behind closed doors or
I
whatever.
think you should make it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And I've also made the statement, I thought this whole thing ought to be behind the executive session.
She's here speaking from the floor, so she has that right.
I do have one more for a closed door discussion probably. So if her billing, or if her title is billing clerk, I would assume she has a job description, and I would assume that job description does not include sewer work, so you might want to consider a different job title as well, or 2 job titles.
She has no job description with her.
It's gonna fall under the
So you might
policy
want
and
one.
procedure stuff when we get all those things together. So we'll take that into consideration. Teresa?
You done?
Yep, I'm done.
When's the township website gonna be up and running?
She wanted to know when the township website is gonna be up and running.
We're supposed to meet with them at the next work
Yeah,
session.
they were invited to come into the work session next month to go over some things with us.
I mean, I'm anxious to see that. My other question is, you said here at township minutes, you want it to be an outline. Does that mean she just commended Jackie? Does that mean they're gonna change again?
Well, I think what we talked about at the prior meeting was that she didn't have to put verbatim word for word.
So
So-
this format that she has for your work session and the minutes of the monthly meeting, that's gonna continue,
Correct.
correct?
What you did for this meeting, the minutes of what you did.
The way you did the minutes here, are you gonna continue that? Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Because I'll commend her with her too. They're very informative if you're not here. They do help you to understand, because this says if you have a question, it'll be on the tape recorder. So if anybody questions, you pretty much don't really want somebody to come in and say, okay, well, can I listen to the tape recorder? Pretty much, right?
You might put the meeting.
that's it.
Kevin?
Just in the minutes, just reading through, Kyle, you said for the NFPA stuff, you guys were gonna put it on the agenda for this month. I didn't see it on the agenda, so I'm just wondering if you
Yeah.
had discussions on that.
We discussed it, and it appears that there are some things that we could get roped into that maybe we don't want to get roped into by doing that. So what was discussed,
Already called down to New Jersey. It won't change the fire insurance rates in this area.
Who told you that?
ISO, or iOS, whichever the initials are, they said it will not change. But they
What is your ISO rating right now?
5.5, I think, is the
And that's based on your response times and capabilities of the fire department. So if the fire department doesn't meet your needs that you're supposed to identify or certain NFPA standards, it will affect your ISO rating. I don't know why they misled you into believing it won't change. They can change your ISO ratings at any given time based on their assessments.
I think what was discussed and recommended to us, and Mike, maybe you can speak up about this or correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that we follow those guidelines when we're making purchases or whatever, that it's NFPA approved or certified or whatever, but not actually adopt the full deal, because if we do that, then we might be tied in to things that might, I don't know, take us out of it completely because of financial or whatever. I think Trevor even brought up stuff about that last month, maybe had some information.
Wayne and I had a great conversation, if I can talk. Wayne and I had a great conversation about it yesterday. And I think the solution is to just adopt a resolution that newly purchased equipment needs to meet NFPA standards. And I think that's what ISO told you, that they assume everything meets ISO purchase.
So in terms of NFPA standards for response times, have you established what your needs are for the township? And the reason I ask that is because you're forcing taxpayers to pay a fire tax in lieu of services given by the fire department.
Do you question Pine Creek on this?
I question every fire department, but I'm talking about Woodward Township right now, and that's
No,
what
but
you
I'm
need to
asking
focus
you a
on.
question. What is the appropriate response time?
If you look at the volunteer fire service, it depends on the distance from the fire department.
And what would lead you to believe that they're not meeting that?
Let's see, they had a fire the other day, a couple weeks ago. They only had one truck out and a few personnel that didn't meet NFPA standards.
What standard?
What standards?
Because you showed up at that same fire without any gear on yourself.
I had gear
You
on.
had gear on, that was it, you didn't have your air pack on, you had no
George,
tools in your
Because I wasn't going
No,
inside.
don't discredit us for.
I get that, but you're here representing, he's asking questions, you're
I'm
representing all the
answering
fire.
this question.
I get that, but
So
Just-
we had, yes, we did. We had one engine on the street, hooked directly to a 6-inch main hydrant, laid right into the front of the structure with multiple lines off of it. There was nothing sitting there that stopped us from putting that fire out. Yes, we had engine one from the city there. You can't put a house fire out yourself. We had multiple different units there for the manpower. I'm not afraid to say that. You gotta have the manpower.
And I agree
But our
with
engine
that.
was laid right in from the front, and our guys were doing exactly what they were trained to do, and the fire got put out. That's the end of the story.
No, it's not the end of the story. You're
Excuse me,
asking.
may
Can I have the floor if I can finish my comments?
Well, you had asked why the board elected not to adopt those standards, and I can simply state it in a reason, and we'll put this thing to bed.
No.
The reason why they have not adopted the standards is because of potential liability in the event that they do not meet the standards if an event were to arise.
So you're worried more about covering your ass than you are providing service to the
And how much
taxpayers.
extra would it potentially cost this township to adopt all the standards?
You don't have to adopt all the standards. As I said last month, you can pick and choose which standards you want.
Well, they
I'm
just
focusing on your
indicated about the
response
equipment.
standards.
The equipment.
It depends on which version of the NFPA standards you want to
So
adopt.
if you can find any complaints against the township for their fire response, I think the board would be happy to entertain this.
yeah, I mean,
What other township in the state is covered by NFPA?
There's multiple townships in the
Which ones?
Commonwealth
We checked
that
it.
follow
We
NFPA
checked into
standards.
that.
None in Clinton County.
None in Clinton County.
And why is that?
Including the city. Because it costs too much to keep up with the cost.
It doesn't cost you a thing to adopt the response, the volunteer standards, the NFPA standards for volunteer fire departments to meet your response time. What I'm getting at is that you're asking the taxpayers to shell out $137,000 a year. You haven't stated what needs the township requires from whatever fire departments you use, whether it be Dunstown or if you drop them completely and go with Lock Haven. Whatever emergency service provider you authorize, which you did in your resolution.
Is that your objective here, to get rid of them?
No, I've offered to help them in any fire department. I've helped multiple fire departments, whether it was in the military or civilian. I totally support fire service organizations. I'm looking at the township has not identified what needs they require from whatever emergency services, but you're asking taxpayers to shell out $137,000 a year, and for what? What are those taxpayers getting in return of providing the township and the fire department money?
So they don't get no protection from that?
If you have a taxpayer that is paying whatever amount, and they're not meeting response times, they're not meeting manpower, anything like that, that you as a township would require, then the question is, what are they paying the fire tax for? Why pay the money?
Right.
What's the residents of city?
I honestly, I have not,
They don't have no standards.
I haven't.
What Pineford Township or anybody else? Because.
But who cares about everybody else? We're talking about Woodward Township.
And you don't live in the townships, why are you worried about
I'm a county taxpayer and they receive
not
county
paying
tax. What does that matter? I've been confronted by multiple taxpayers in this township asking, what are we paying for? And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
They have an opportunity to come here and do the meeting.
Well, they asked me, and I'm here as a voice for them.
Yeah. Kevin, I'm going to end that portion about the response thing. We have, as supervisors, I'm not aware of us ever receiving a complaint from one of our taxpayers that they felt our fire station did not show up soon enough or whatever the case may be.
Well, I will leave you with this. Act 7 requires the township to identify the needs to be performed to the means and the extent by whatever organization.
Right.
I've done a right to know with the township, you don't have a contract, and you have no needs, so you're in violation of Act 7. So it would behoove you to sit down with the fire department and identify what needs the township has and work with the fire department and say, can you provide these needs? If they can, that's great, I support them 100%. If they can't, you need to ask why can't they? Because taxpayers are paying money for that, and they have a right to know.
I might be a little out of line. How much it cost that township or that fire company right now in court in a period of COVID when all of the donations, all of their fundraisers are shut down? How much have you cost that township?
Are you talking about the right to know request that I've been pursuing?
Well, that you lost. You lost it.
No, I may have lost this decision. The case is still pending. I have appeal processes I could either pursue
I
or
understand,
turn
but
away.
you lost 3 times.
But since you had influence with that,
What do you mean I had influence?
you had influence in that case, it didn't cost, it was their choice to hire the most expensive attorney that they could find. I didn't tell them to go ahead and pursue any attorney.
Represents themselves. And we're not fools, we've got good lawyers for a reason.
Well, your lawyer represents multiple fire departments within the Commonwealth. But again, I'm not suing.
That's why you get the best.
I'm not suing the fire department. Let's get that on record right now. I support them 100%.
What are you
I
I
asked for response information that taxpayers had asked me for
It's been
to
proven
find
more
out.
than one time, it's none of your business, that information.
Well,
It's been
Excuse
proven.
me.
I'm going to break some news
More
to you.
than one
I'm going to break
time.
some news to you. There's a statute pending right now that
Hey,
you're going to lose.
fellas, hold up. Listen, we've been having some decent meetings the past couple months, and I don't want to get off track. I want to keep trying to go the right direction here. So, if I'm sure we're all misunderstood here, but we need to get on the same page about doing what's right. And I get what you're saying about it, and if it's a concern, we will definitely address it. However,
It's been addressed, Kyle, multiple times. It was addressed at the meetings when you were discussing the fire
I'm
tax.
talking about
It's been discussed every month.
yeah. I'm talking
Last
about
month
the
you
response.
said, well, we're new to this whole fire thing. How can you be new to it? You should have been very familiar with this. Your solicitor should be quite familiar with Act 7, the requirements that you have. Again, it's entirely up to you if you want to adopt NFPA standards or not. I'm just looking at what the taxpayers have conveyed to me and asking, what are we paying for? We're paying all this money, what services do we get? And right now, there's no guarantee that they're going to get any type of services in lieu of that tax money that you're paying for.
Well,
Like I said, I completely support this argument.
George,
hang on, George.
What township do you live in?
I live in Pine Creek Township.
Do they have that? Do they have adopted anything? Because I know the answer to it, it's no. So you ought to go preach to your own township before you come preach to yours.
What's it say I'm not?
You're not.
What's it say I'm not? But I've been confronted by taxpayers in Woodward Township over this money.
all right. Listen, we're going to have further discussions about this on a more professional.
And if you want to know more, Mr. Love, about the case, I'll be glad to go ahead and convey you what happened in that case and what's pending.
Kevin, if you have concerns or whatever, or if you've spoken, and I'm going to end this conversation, so please don't, anybody from fire company or Kevin, respond to what I'm going to say right now. All I'm going to say is, if you have a concern about a response time, or if you know taxpayers in our township that speak to you because of the media thing that you guys provide, people speak with you, please send them to us so we can address that concern. So I appreciate you guys coming here and doing that. However, I don't want to get in a pissing match with our fire guys and you guys. So I invite you here every month to come back and, if there's something to bring up, please notify us. But I don't want it to turn into a battle back and forth, because we could stay here all night and do this. And I don't think there's too many people here that want to do that. So I'm not trying to discourage you from speaking up. I want you to come every month. And if you know something of substance to tell us, please tell us. But we're not getting anywhere right now with this direction. But as far as the NFPA stuff, we've had some things recommended to us. I think we're going to follow suit with that. And as far as getting a contract with them, or sitting down with them and us telling them what our expectations are from the taxpayers' standpoint, we will do that. But there is going to be a fire advisory board comprised here fairly soon. And hopefully that can be the link between all of us that we can accomplish things. So, and like I said, I would invite you to continue to, provide feedback as much as you can, whether it's positive or negative. But like I said, I don't want to stay here all night and go back and forth. So, do you have anything else to add without causing anything? Okay. Trevor?
I just want to thank Wayne for a conversation we had about 10 minutes yesterday. It was pretty productive. We talked about a few things. One was the fire advisory board. Sounds like you guys have 3 solid people, Wayne said, picked out for it. I expressed interest. Wayne just wanted me to express it publicly. And I'm interested in being on the fire advisory board.
Okay. So I know Mike has kind of got us some information, people that might be interested in it. And I don't know if we really need to speak on that tonight, because we're not really that far with it yet, but we'll take it into consideration.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, if you want, maybe, I know we did receive from one person their resume, more or less, and a letter of interest. So if you want to provide something like that way we have it on hand.
Yeah, I'm very interested in helping on both sides.
And just, so it's stated while it's public, or for the fact that just give us a brief one quick, you're a taxpayer in this township, correct?
Yep, live in Woodward Township, started with Dunstown Bay, or actually started with Flemington. Been a firefighter, 22 years plus. Sell fire equipment as well, knowledgeable about that.
All right, do you have anything else you want to?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. I think we've covered everybody from the floor, so that would be time for Steve to give us a police report.
For the month of August, there were 41 total traffic stops with 30 citations issued, 5 criminal arrests, 2 warrants served, 9 written warnings, 2 verbal warnings, 2 motor vehicle accidents. Total calls for service was 160. Follow-up incidents were 60 for a total of 220.
Fire company, Mike, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, the month of August, we had 28 calls.
Anything else? So fundraisers are obviously down.
How'd
you guys do the other
We just
day?
had one this past Saturday. Looking, next Monday, we start Monday night bingos. We were able to meet the requirement that the Department of Health advised us with, so next Monday night, we're gonna start Monday night bingos for a month to see how those go. And then we have our wing night coming up, October 2nd, which is gonna be drive-through, but
Right.
still gonna be wings.
Okay. Anything else fire company goes?
No, just to note that since January 1, when the fire tax came in, we have not lost a call since we went and had the fire tax, so we have not lost a call. We've gone down on every call that we've dispatched at.
Okay. All right. Zoning report, a pretty productive month there. It looks like about a dozen permits totaling $880 for zoning. And then excavation permits, another handful there totaling $160, and there was no burn permits. I think that's the largest amount of zoning permits I've ever seen in 1 month. That amount, I should say.
Well, they were clear back from August.
Okay, there were some ones.
Excuse me, July.
Okay,
That's July, August, September.
okay.
Kyle, I do have one thing.
Yep.
If we don't get rain with the leaves starting to fall and people doing yard cleanups, are we gonna put some type of, look at putting some type of burning ban on open burning?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because
Did the
that's
county
when
ever
leaves
go
are
into it?
falling and people are gonna start,
Right.
and it's not gonna take much for something to start burning pretty good.
Yeah, if we're in some kind of drought warning deal or whatever there. So, I know another, speaking of that, we're make our guys aware too about keeping the drains cleaned off. So, and that might be something I have to get with you guys too about flushing some pipes in the event that, because I know we've got
Just
some
afraid
of
that
those.
leaves are starting to fall pretty early and people are gonna wanna clean up their yards and they're not gonna think about it.
Right.
But if they start burning and the wind starts picking up and it lands someplace, we're gonna have some issues.
We've been pretty fortunate over the years because we go around and collect leaves with the vacuum
Right.
thing. So I don't know if there's too many that burn, but I mean we'll address it if it's an issue. We'll announce it next month, but it's usually, we start it like at the end of October, run basically right up till Thanksgiving. So, but every year it's different because when the leaves are falling off, and then, I mean, we've even had to stop it because of a snowstorm at the end of October, so it's just, yeah.
If it stays really dry, we might want to consider
Yeah,
increasing the amount of pickups or something.
yeah. So, all right. Unfortunately, we have to go back into an executive session. So, like I said earlier, we're going into an executive session, and then we're coming back just to adjourn. So, please, nobody needs to stay unless you want to hear us adjourn when we come back. So, do I have a motion that we move into an executive session to discuss personnel
Oh, I'm freezing.
matters?
I'm freezing stuff. And I'm
Roll call, Wayne.
I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to start like doing jumping jacks or something. I'm back here shivering.
My 44 years means more to me than that. I don't need to listen. You don't intimidate people. You are with our fire department. Tell your wife, what's wrong? Yeah, tell your husband enough. What's so rude?
No, yeah, so I went.
It is rude not to we're both are.
Welcome back. Many happy returns.
It's hard to have a conversation that we never had.
I know.
Thank
I'll listen to you out.
Go ahead.
And outdoor first, I think there's restrictions on it has to be. setbacks.
But why? My question is, why? So I had
No, it's not. It's beyond it.
So that's why I asked. It's basic somebody over here said, hey, you know, we got
I couldn't tell you last time we scratched the whole idea. No, I was just adding it. I think you're lying. No, I didn't. I want to hear next month.
That's fine. I can't, I'm not gonna force anybody.
I want to know why you're representing. We want the concern. We want to know what they want us to do, so we can make sure we achieve that.
I don't read it.
Why? You're not. You're not.
I pick on
Let me tell you what, you better go back to your own fire department, because you have internal problems there, and you're not looking at it.
I just joined her, so
I don't care. You don't even belong here, you have no assets in this township, and you're not picking on anybody else that has fire tax money. No, no buts about it.
I
don't
have a
care.
fire service
I don't care how
consulting
much you
business
have.
that people contacted me.
Show me, I want you to bring me, resumes for people that you have consulting, or you're consulting, other fire companies.
I don't Google my clients.
Yeah, because you don't have them.
Yes, I do.
I don't believe. And you want to know why we didn't consult you? I'm going to tell you right to your face.
Please do it.
I'm going to.
It's
Because
not
you
gonna hurt my
stir up this whole county. You have a right to know in every department in this county.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. I was told. Yeah, you do. And you think that I would consult you with the watchdog shit you put on, the shit you bash everybody else?
I'm
You
not
think I
affiliated
would-
with that watchdog group.
Yeah, you are. You're lying.
I'm not
Bullshit,
even a
Trevor.
member.
You're standing here
Right
lying.
there,
Okay,
right there
but
is the person that runs
you
the watchdog
think
group.
that I would consult you with all the shit that you've caused
I'm not
us?
asking you to. I threw it out.
No,
there.
you asked.
I asked. I
You
said,
asked.
I
You
will
talked to
offer-
Justin.
Yeah,
I would
right.
be nuts.
I said,
Our fire
I-
department would be nuts to consult you with all the stuff that you've caused us. I'm over $2,000 in lawyers because of the shit that you wanted that had nothing to do with you.
That's not my problem, Mike.
Well, it is. And it's only going to get worse. I'm not consulting with you. We're not
And
consulting.
it's going to get worse
And
for multiple departments.
get
and
ready
I'll tell you
because
why.
I'll tell you why. There's 3 more municipalities that are going to put fire taxes on.
Right.
3.
There's multiple municipalities.
And I
throughout
can
the
tell you
Commonwealth.
this, I'm coming back in a year and I'm asking for more money because the mill wasn't enough. So there's the
That's
problem.
fine.
You know,
Plus,
if you would have
when
come
you
to
gotta
us
pay
and
it out.
talked to us decently.
I
you
tried
had
to.
it.
I
No,
tried to at the
you
meeting.
had it.
I
I
know.
know.
All
I-
you did
I
at the
want
meeting
things.
said, I'm offering my services. I mean, that's
What
what
is your
I
name
said-
in our
I
fire
said-
department? There might as well be a big bull there with a dart, because when I hear your name and you are full of shit, when you walked up to this fire down here, you guys brought yourselves no equipment, none. I stood right there.
I know you
come
did.
up, the 2 junior members who
And
should
you
have
were,
never been
and
in
you were
that
the one
house.
standing there without gear.
I don't need gear.
You're on a fire ground
It
scene.
doesn't matter. I was standing back on command. I don't need to have gear. And 2 is, you didn't even bother to go into that place. As quick as you grabbed your gloves, don't sit
What?
there and say I'm Joe, Mr. Firefighter.
There were 7 personnel inside the building. The fire was
Doesn't
already out
matter.
there. Why do I need it? Why
It
would you
doesn't
need to put an
matter.
8th person in there?
Besides, at 2
Okay,
o'clock
so-
in the
so
morning,
you were
the
doing
way that
command.
place was burning,
You were doing command, correct?
yeah,
How many people were inside that building?
that was the operations guy to take care of
You're
it.
the incident
It
commander. You
doesn't
should know
matter.
that.
There's
There's
enough people in
operations
there.
and an incident command
That's
for a
right.
So you want to lock horns? You want to test egos?
If
but
I
you-
can-
I'm not
Yeah.
testing
All
no
right.
egos. It's just
But
that
you're-
I
you
know
as the
for a
incident
fact
commander-
you did a right to know for that call.
No, I didn't.
I'll bet you did.
No, I did
If
not.
I
Well,
can- if I
somebody
can
did
ask
from your
what
station.
the issue was with us only having one piece on the street at that fire.
That's what the taxpayers are worried about. When they
I understand
Well,
that.
listen,
I understand that. But when you hit the
But here we
hydrant,
go again. Does not
Pine Creek Township and Dunstable Township give Woolwich Fire Company fire tax money.
I know Pine Creek Township gets it.
Okay, how many times do you guys get out on a call? You run the city, which goes past 3 fire departments to run the city down there so that you have coverage during the day. You're bashing our fire department.
We were getting out quite often.
All right, so are we. But my point is,
And that's great, but that's information the taxpayers need to know.
but if the taxpayers want to know,
They can come to this meeting and find
I
out.
haven't heard nothing
I would
from any of
love,
the
I would
township
love
residents.
for this building to be packed with taxpayers.
Well, those taxpayers that are consulting you, I want them here next month because until I hear from them, or they call me personally, or stop by our fire station, I'm gonna tell you you're lying.
That's your prerogative, Mike.
I can
That's your
guarantee you,
prerogative.
we had
Because
drivers.
everybody that's come to those meetings has been thinking, we've sent out OneDrive letters, we've gotten good letters and good
That's
responses.
great. Like I said, I totally support
We
that.
had, so we
I'm
had
not
drivers.
I feel like you're supporting it
We had
when you
drivers
come here
pull the
back,
engine.
because there isn't a municipality
Because you have
around
to look
this.
at
Show me the municipality that belongs to the
Right.
NFPA in
You have-
Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we're a non-compliant state.
Show me. I know we're not compliant, and
Show me
I'm
the-
working to
show me
change
the
that.
Why are you asking for us to do something?
Show me the
nobody else
township.
Be the
There
leader.
is no hope for it. You can't afford,
You have it.
you can't afford
But
NFPA.
what I'm saying, Mike, is that
You
if
cannot
say,
afford
look,
NFPA.
this is our responsibility.
3% that you would raise this thing to is not even enough money to go NFPA.
You should know what our response is. The county gives you 10 minutes, correct? We're out by our second or third tone, even during the day.
But the tax, that's just it.
But Kevin,
And I
that's
know-
what I'm calling you bullshit on. What do you mean the taxpayers? There's never been an issue before.
Because you just had a fire tax.
It doesn't matter. There's other places.
People
Nobody's
didn't have-
questioning anybody else.
Nobody's
that has
questioning
it.
Pine Creek Township
Nobody's
in all these
questioning the
years
city of Lock
having one.
Haven.
But before the fire tax, nobody was paying money. So it was
They're
like,
paying
okay,
money up for a police department. Nobody's bitching
Nobody's
about
questioning
them.
about the police department whatsoever.
money for how long, and nobody questions that.
Nobody questions any of that. And then all of a sudden, we put a fire tax in, and there's all these questions, but nobody's coming
And it's
to
only
it.
coming from you.
No, it's not.
Oh, the hell it is.
Then Kevin,
Who
show me
else
proof.
is it?
I'll
Show
believe
us
you when you
proof.
show me proof.
Because you
then
have
we've
nobody
had
else
open
other than
meetings, and
yourself.
Nobody has said anything. We've sent out beg letters. I've got one, out of all the beg letters we sent out, one guy sent one thing back. He had a comment about the helmet and stuff. Other than that, there hasn't been nobody sending any comments back. That's what I'm saying to you. If they're so concerned, why aren't they attending either our monthly meeting, or
Again,
why
I
aren't they
can't-
coming here?
I can't force anybody to show up. I would
And
love
I'm,
for them to.
and I'm saying to you is this, that
If they were that
if
concerned,
they were that concerned, they would be here
Exactly, and I
questioning.
totally agree. If
But
they're that
right now,
concerned,
with the black eye that
We
you've
want to hear
already
their
given
concerns,
yourself,
because then we know what we need to do.
making me think
If
that
we're
you're
doing
standing there
something
lying
wrong,
to me.
we
That's
want
how
their
I
concerns
feel,
so we can
which is
fix it.
probably
We're
wrong.
not here to
I'm not
hurt the
bullshitting. How long have we
public.
known each other?
I
Mike?
know
I'm
that,
not- I'm not
but
bullshitting.
like I
you.
said,
And like I
why
said-
aren't these people coming out if they want to know where their money's going?
Because they don't want to have the fear of retribution of
Nah.
showing up here and doing
Nah.
that themselves.
Then
They're
tell
afraid
them,
of
tell
people
them,
and bullies like
tell
you
them to
two.
come and see
You
you
won't let
tomorrow.
anybody else
I will
talk.
We're
Tell
more
them
than
or
willing to
else
Let
I'm
meet.
this guy
I'm-
talk
we're
over
more
there.
than-
I would like to hear
We're
what
more
he
than
has
willing
to
to
say.
meet.
You
Guy
two
talks all
won't
the
I
let
time.
him
understand their
talk.
concerns.
Yep.
However, I had no issue. I understand what you're doing. I understand that you're concerned for the residents. I get that. I understand Trevor's concern. Trevor is a taxpayer, lives in the
And
township.
I don't know what Trevor's doing with his rights now, so
Who cares if you live in the township?
I'll be straight up
Everybody
honest
deserves
with you. I don't live in the
accountability. You
township.
guys are
I'll
getting
tell you that
your
right
ass
first,
along.
but I run past 3 city stations. I'm closer to Cassidy and Flemington just to get here because this is where I want to be. This is where my heart is. And there's a lot of guys above me that I've always looked up to, including one that passed away, the former chief.
would you guys?
However, the Riverside Terrace fire, I understand there was one piece on the street. That piece was tagged into a hydrant, so at that point there was no need for the tanker. And don't get me wrong, we had 3 drivers. All 3 pieces could have gotten out. But to bring those 3 pieces, so if we'd have brought the squad, it's waste of fuel, just sitting there. The tanker also. We have squad 6 there for bottles, 45 who filled our cylinders and everything else for us. So we had 2 rescues there. We had multiple other engines, and actually engine 2 even caught me off guard when they came around the corner hooked to another hydrant. Because typically you can only hit 1 hydrant in Woodward Township and you're screwed if you hit 2.
And
When he
truly,
came
at 2
around,
o'clock in the morning, the way that place was burning, it should have been on the ground.
Right.
The guys
I have-
from the
when I-
city
when I-
and stuff did an excellent job at that place.
Don't get me wrong, were we the first ones in the door? Absolutely not. Engine 1 and Squad 6's crew did a hell of a job. They made a hell of a knock. Credit to them as well as 45. 45 makes great timing to get there quick. We're more than happy to have all the help we can get. 7's guys, 17, they work their ass off. That's what they're there for. We don't want this pissing match between a million fire departments. Like, don't get me wrong, there is some tension between a couple of fire departments. However,
Well, the egos between fire departments, it's not fire departments.
Personal
Egos
issues.
between personal issues.
However, when we go and everybody works well together, and at the end of the day, if everybody goes home, so as long as everybody goes home and the job got done, that's.
When I'm asking you
I just don't want the
nicely,
pissing match.
please, if there is people in this township that's concerned where their money's gone and what is being done, I am at the fire station almost every evening.
Okay.
There's almost somebody there every evening. I can be reached by cell phone. I will meet those people there. I will have a group of guys meet. I will explain everything there is. The problem is this, all right, and I'm going to be front, and we come out with this. The reason why there is a fire tax bill is because we can maintain, up until the COVID shit happened and we can't do nothing, all right? We can maintain our daily expenditures, our monthly expenditures. What we can't maintain is our large ticket items, all right? We can't do that. Fundraising is not there no more. We are not the only ones experiencing this. This is across the United States, all right? And we literally have less than 12 or so guys that can do interior and firefighting. So we are maintaining a response volunteer with less than 12, and that's high compared to some of the numbers.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I mean, Mill Hall
I
is
agree.
way down. Mill Hall's
I agree.
lucky if they can get drivers to get the stuff on the street. We're working on our drivers, but we take away and add drivers. Now we just took away an interior firefighter.
Yep.
So we've
I'm
got
tracking.
multiple things that we're trying to do. All right. So yes, we did put a fire tax on, but I
Not
come
because
back
we wanted to.
8
Believe
years
me that. We
ago
don't wanna
when
have
Chuck
to ask for
Ryan
any
was
more.
still living, and Chuck said, "I'll never put a fire tax on." When he was in his deathbed, he said, "Boys, I think we screwed up. We should have put a fire tax on."
And
The guy
that's where it
died.
goes back with Trevor.
I come
When
back,
Trevor
clear
wanted to
back.
start
Trevor,
that.
come here. Trevor, come here. He had all this homework done. He had it laid right out. He had it right down. He got shut down by Butler and Connor and them said, "I think it's time to end the meeting." Trevor never bothered to come back. For 8 years, I've been on. We need to put a fire tax in so we can start down here with a little piece of the pie instead of taking half of the pie.
Quarter, half.
All right.
Can I ask you this, would it have been beneficial if there was more information conveyed to the community? You can never have enough communication.
Am I gonna say that, do I feel like it ran fast? Am
why-
I gonna say this? First thing is, if I would have known that it would have been this much of a headache and this much of a pain in the ass, I would have just said, "Hey, here you go, it's all yours, you guys do with it." Well, I never thought in a million years. Now, do I say, and I've told all three of them supervisors up there, I've told the guys at my station, do I think that we started this a little bit late into the year and tried to get it through, to get it gone? Yes and no. I mean, you know how hard it is to try to get them together and us together, and then we
And we
tried
actually have
and
a
we
good
do it.
working
But
relationship with the
we knew at this
supervisors.
point that it had to be done the way we did it, so that we could get it. I mean, like I said, we've got, if you want the honest God's truth, we've got 3 pieces of apparatus that should be replaced, but we got 1 that really needs replaced and 2 that we're hoping to send back and get a little bit of paint work done
Is it
and
the
try to make
squad
the
Yes.
squad,
Yeah.
yes.
And-
You know,
and I
and
think
when you
I'm-
sit down and look at it, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, we're talking $850,000.
We
And,
trust the data.
and
Your
next
rate's
month,
going up.
next month, KME, no ifs, ands, or buts, he already told us, they're gonna have a price increase, $30,000 next month. $30,000.
And
Right off the bat.
We-
So,
And yes, we have to have
KME
the
is the
rescue
highest
now.
price piece, but
Yeah.
when KME does their price increase, they're gonna be right beside because Pierce is holding their pricing.
Oh,
out.
yeah.
So, if we don't sign something by the end of this year, we're gonna add another.
that price so they don't screw you
We're
over.
gonna add another 300,000, we're gonna add another $30,000 to that $850,000. So, I mean, we're trying everything we can, and I promised the supervisors, I promised the residents, and along with all of our guys, we will not quit fundraising. We will not quit, we can't.
Today's
We got to keep going, like I said,
It would look terrible.
nobody knows
if
right
we
now,
put this
but
in and
at
put
the end of this
fundraiser. It
year,
makes us look bad.
at the end of this year, with just 2 handgun bingos and a Christmas bingo, that's over $30,000 that we're losing. Right, that's just those. That is including all the bingos, all the hall rentals and stuff. So when we're done, we'll be $100,000 that we've lost this year.
I mean, we're trying.
There's nothing I can do, there's nothing any of us can
Bingo's
do,
not-
but, I mean, like I said, the fire tax, if I wished I could have come back and Wayne and them all saying the same thing. Wish we would have had a little bit more time to do a little bit more things. We did it, and that's how we had to do it. And like I said, there was some grief when we first got it. We still did the mail outs. We've gotten good responses back off the mail outs. I mean, like I said, out of all the mail outs that went out, besides somebody that just doesn't want to send it back, which we track all that, it's all tracked through this company. We've got one letter the guy had real big about the helmet, which was my screw up. I admit, I screwed it up. It's been taken care of. The fund has been reimbursed. The helmet, I just now took off of bags of rock salt and took up and threw on the shelf in the chief's office. So that's where it lays. And it will become a shelf ornament and collect dust, and that is, I got a whole stack of helmets that we got. They're all NFPA compliant, they're all good, and everything's good. We got new gear that I'm waiting on pricing, so we can hear it's all in it. Anything, I screwed up on that and stuff. But other than that, I mean, we have some people that volunteered to be on the committee. Trevor's volunteered. We have some other good, lot of experience that have stepped up to the plate, and those guys haven't even approved them yet. But I've given them specs for both of the pieces of apparatus, so they've already read through them. They've already looked. Matter of fact, with one guy, picked out some electrical cord that we had on the KME, we didn't have on the Pierce and stuff. So, I mean, we have, not to mention all of us guys, but we have other sets of eyes looking at everything that we're going from here on out. So,
And this is the communication I appreciate, and I wish.
well, I
we would have
think
had
it
it
just
before.
the
heat of the
whole
moment,
the whole
and the
heat
meeting
of the
and
moment,
everything,
and the thing is you got to understand, organizations don't work well together. People don't work well together.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, I did 20
And I
years in the
just think
military. I
that,
know that too well.
you know,
so, yeah.
the general public and stuff, and then, we feel like you're coming here and bashing us
That's
and,
not-
and
that's
picking on
not
us.
my intent.
I understand that, but
That's
on
not
our
what
part,
we're
You're putting it out that way.
you're putting it out there, and I'm
Well,
gonna
that's
be
the
honest with you,
entire
I'm not pulling any punches.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I said,
and I
if
would expect
your
you to.
picture was hanging on the wall at the station, it would have a whole lot of dart holes to it right now, because it just, that just is the I mean, I don't know how to, but
yeah.
that's just the expectation that you've given the people. I mean, I can tell you
My
this.
picture's in the urinal, right?
When
Like,
I
you wanna
walked,
admit it.
when you walked up there at that fire right down here,
Yeah.
there was guys going, oh, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I sensed it.
It's
I
just-
sensed it.
It's like guys are like, oh, here we go, and it may not be you, but I can tell you that 2 people went up there and put a right to know in for the box card for that fire call.
I did not
So,
do it. So
I
like
don't
said,
know who
I
did
don't
it,
forget.
but, again, there's, and it's, if you put 5 and 12 together, we work good on the scene, as Brandon said right here.
Yeah.
But there's some conflict of interest between our chief and Brandon and a couple other guys, and will that ever get straightened out? I don't know, but that's beside,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna get into that, but, I mean, Woodhaven is right at the end of our territory, and we're not even first due on that. The same
Yeah,
as,
we've had
one
some
went and scratched,
discussions
one
and-
off of their, one went and scratched, and it's just not playing well in the sandbox, and if you wanna look at it, both of them were in the wrong, but we gotta look out for our our community and our general public and, you know.
And that's where
I mean, just like the Lockheed Hospital fire. I mean, Norm come over Saturday, he picked up chicken from us, and he said, listen, I think everything went well. For this community, that was
That's
a
a
large
big-
scale incident.
Yeah, that's a big incident.
For us. I mean, 27 and a half hours for a volunteer fire department to be up there around the clock, basically. The impact of that was a large scale incident.
To
and
turn
I
around
think
in
we
a couple
all
hours
just,
to be back.
well, like I said,
And
27 and a half
speaking of
hours.
this, did you guys get the safety data sheets
Yeah,
on that shit?
Justin's got it all. We got
Okay.
exposure forms to fill out for everybody.
Yeah,
Here's
'cause
the
we're
wash.
dealing with that now, and
Yeah.
Yep, and we
Yeah,
actually
so
have
You know, well, people were worried about
called
wrapped up
pecan
water,
pack.
but they didn't worry about the food that
Yeah.
we ate the night before, that the wind was blowing all over. So
Yeah.
nobody worried about that, but.
2 blocks away, standing at a hydrant.
Yeah, all by yourself.
All by myself,
Yeah.
and that. he was
Well,
just-
like I said, I
Name
encourage those residents, again, if they have questions, please reach out.
I'll
We'll
reach out to
answer-
them. I
We'll
will do
answer
that for
any
you
of their
guys.
questions that they want. I'm gonna tell you this, even during the day, I mean, every fire department during the day is hurt and everybody is at work. We've never, ever had shift people. Brent's about the only shift person we have. During the day, are we gonna get out? Yes. Is it gonna be heavy? No. But
they come to work.
and that's the.
in the
I can
evenings,
tell you,
during the
with vol-
weekends,
volunteer
I go to
department,
work.
so-
I go to work. I work 12-hour shifts overnight first quality, and I go to work on an hour sleep sometimes just to make sure that that piece is leaving with the
Yeah.
interior guy.
but on an evening or during the
They come on
weekend,
there every day.
Yep.
our
George is there,
squad
Hunt's
is
there,
gonna
Danny's
get out
there.
with at least
Brad,
a
depending
full
on what
crew.
he's doing.
And
Baker.
our tanker and our engine are gonna get out, you know, depending on what they ask for. If they ask for an engine, it's gonna get a full crew. If they ask for a RIT crew, the rescue's gonna get a full crew. And a tanker needs one person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Who's going to
One or
shuttle
two
water?
people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how we look at
And
it.
that's
So
what-
we're
and that's
on
what
for
we
a
did at
RIT
the
assignment.
hospital.
Our rescue
George
takes
rolled
as
the
many
tanker,
guys
laid the
as
5-inch,
it needs, which is
Kind of
6.
worked as
You
an
know.
engine instead of a tanker, but
I
It
mean,
did
have
what it
we
needed
went
to
to a
do.
Rick call and had 3 guys? Yeah. Is it safe? No. We'd like to have 6 guys,
Yeah.
one of them being the driver, the other, you know, the
Yeah.
other ones are the Rick crew, because usually the driver isn't an interior guy, he stays with the piece, and that's it. But that's the whole nutshell and the thing, so.
Like I said, at the end of the day, guys, I mean, honestly, I'm not here to bash. I'm not here to throw you guys under the bus. I want to see you guys succeed, just as I want to see any department succeed.
I mean,
So,
had
is probably
Trevor's
a
option worked back when he got shut down,
Yep.
we might not even be in this situation. We
Yeah.
have no idea.
I-
We very well might not be in this situation because that would have backed
15
for
days
how long,
it's out.
but It
Yeah.
just comes to the point
They're
where,
gonna see you not
as
too
much as I can tell you right now,
Cold
we
issues.
did not want to do this. It hurt us more than anything to want to put this in and ask the township for
Yeah.
more money because you don't want to have to do that when you've for so long been able to withstand that and you're used to that. Where now you're asking for help, and
Yeah.
we should technically be the last ones to ask for help.
Like I said, I know 3 municipalities right now that waited to see how much flack and all the BS there was with Woodward Township on it. I know Mill Hall Borough,
Take the condition we're in right now, COVID-19.
Lamar Township.
Our worthless piece of shit governor, and I'll tell you the way I feel about him, has done nothing for any fire company out there whatsoever.
We haven't got no money at all.
We have gotten
It was hurry up and wait.
That goes back to,
We're volunteers,
with
we're
the county.
limited.
I've been busting the county commissioner's asses for I don't know how long. They have over $1 million sitting in this Act 13 account. They haven't given fire departments, the county is not giving fire departments a single dime.
See, we were
Whereas
supposed
you
to
got,
get the
like,
Act
how many-
13 money this
I
year.
know.
I
And
said right in
two,
the meeting, the
But
beginning.
now that you got the fire tax, they're withholding the Act 13.
yeah, but
There's
2 out
more
of the
money than that.
2 out of the 3 want to give it to us. One
You were there
don't.
at the first
It was
meeting when we
promised
said
us
they
to
were
give
giving
it
us
to
the Act
us.
13 money to get
And
it
now
going.
it's
Because
on
you raised
hold.
the question about can't you keep funding them in that until we go through this long? You brought that up in that meeting, the very first meeting. Kyle sits up there and says, we never discussed it. He's a liar. I'm gonna do the right to know for minutes,
Yeah.
because it's gonna come back and visit on that alone, because that is a lie. He's the one that said in the special meeting that right off the bat, that's what they were gonna do, which was gonna pay to pave the front end of the
redo the concrete.
Oh, for what you guys are doing, okay.
Right. That's what we were gonna use that money for, was to
Okay.
redo that concrete
Yeah.
work, because the thing collapsed with the tanker sitting
Yeah,
outside.
we actually had the tanker sitting on the apron, and when we backed it back in,
Well,
it was sinking
Oh, damn.
at the corner,
So
which
it's
is
been
right where the
sinking for over
tires at,
6
so.
months.
Yeah.
Well, there's even more money than what is here at the township.
I realize that,
Act 13 funds.
I
And
realize
We're trying
that.
to get that from the commissioners.
But even
to
the
do it.
governor should enact
Oh, I know,
something.
I know.
Yeah.
Instead of working
We had
with
to
the
fill out that
legislature.
grant, how many months ago? It was like, you come out and they gave you a short period of time